group access card, new access gained group 1, another log. Doesn't appear to be anything else of importance. STD. Yeah, group 1 access grants us access to this storage area. Darts, needle darts, or dart gun. Actually, I think we forgot to explore the healing suite properly, because we took the dart gun. And we have two options: either go there or try to solve our first puzzle. So I guess get the energy from flowing from this point to this point. But this isn't really a puzzle, because this is more of a tutorial to see what happens when you push these things. So as easy as it can possibly get. We already have a dart gun, we don't need another. Dart gun is a decent weapon at the early game, good against any live opponents. Totally useless against robots, so we're going to be relying on the lead pipe until we get something that can affect robots. Since most of these enemies are melee anyway, a lead pipe is actually not a bad weapon. And this is supposed to be a ladder, or the equivalent in this game, so we can climb up these. Although it's a struggle. The controls of these games aren't what they are supposed to be, meaning what they were when this game launched. No such thing as a mouse look in the actual game, so it was more like this, and if you move the cursor to one side and press a button, the character turns or moves forward, so the original control scheme was much more cumbersome, and you controlled your character's position from here. It allowed to do and what it sees from here, so it seems like a silly way to do things when you can now just put mouse look and crouching but it was a control scheme at the time, and it's one of a big roadblock for new players, I think, to try out this game. So I think the best version probably today is System Shock Portable. It comes with all the programs you need to run the game, and with all these mouse look modes and others. And I think like a manual, so you can get everything working quite easily. I think we need to go through these logs. There will be vital information and into tips. They'll also warn us about incoming events or traps. So, for example, when Shodan talks about moving security and his plans, we really need to pay attention to it. It's not a must, but it'll give us clues about where he's laying her traps.
Shodan security is closing down on us. The elevators are frozen. Myra keeps saying that it's the cameras and the medical CPU core, that Shodan's using these to hold onto the level. That's all fine, but I don't really see how it helps. The thing is everywhere.
What it means is that we should destroy all cameras and computer cores we encounter. I don't know if the dart gun is good enough to destroy cameras. Might not be, so we need a better long-range weapon before we can clear out this level. What it practically means is that you need at least partly clear out this security before you can move on, often. But you don't have to clear everything. If you clear everything, all security is released on level, and why you want to do that is simply because that often provides you with access to bonus items, or maybe some access to an armor location or a more small item stash. That's not necessary to do, but it often provides you with vital supplies or perhaps access to weapons before you really should have access to those weapons. Okay, we have a new access card, group access. So for a short period of time you have a weapon that is extremely powerful against the opponents you face. The only problem is you might be struggling with ammo, so you can't use them all the time, but it'll make some tough fights or situations easier if you have found all those bonus items and stashes.
Gunther was killed today. I can't let myself think about it. I think I understand how Shodan is doing it. When we destroy the cameras and CPU nodes, Shodan loses some of its control over the station functions, at least on this level. I think I can restore manual control in the hospital.
Mutants and cyborgs seems to be our opponents here. We probably won't encounter robots in this early part because we don't have anything to harm really robots. Is that a pistol? A stun gun? No, I don't want a stun gun. Why would I want to stun people when they are trying to kill me? Okay, and these are hidden stashes, but this was pretty crappy stash. So the better ones. Here's another. There's a blue border on these panels, and blocked by Shodan security. So if we can sufficiently reduce the security level, this will open up, and there's no way of knowing beforehand what the level is, so we'll try to get it to 0 just in case, and it might open up some other place too, so there's no way of knowing it in advance. Okay, we found a spark beam. That's an energy weapon, and in this game energy weapons are decent weapons, and I think all future energy weapons are pretty much direct upgrades, and some of the most powerful weapons in these games will be energy weapons. The only reason not to use energy weapons in this game is because it competes with your other hardware for power, not because it's not a good choice to use. Since we don't have any decent hardware now that uses energy, we might as well use the energy weapons. Energy weapons also overheat, so we can't rapid fire with this weapon, and it's also a good reason to keep the energy setting at high, since we have to kill our opponents quickly, And here's a bit more complicated puzzle. On the bright side, I think the fact that all these wires are at the same color means that it's irrelevant what wire you use at what point, because they're all equal. But as things get more complicated there, and you have different kind of wires, well, things just get harder and harder. So if you really don't like doing any kinds of puzzles, you can set them off to a lower setting to make them easier, or disable them entirely. I don't really see any reason why you shouldn't do that if you don't like it. So close, not quite. We're going to have to move these around a little, I think. No success. And the music has bugged out for some reason. This is, I think, a problem with running old games, because modern computers don't really have this special sound card that people buy. It used to be that sound card was one of the best investments you could make to your computer. It greatly improved the gameplay experience, but with modern computers it's mainly graphics card and the integrated sound card on the motherboard is more than enough to do everything, but it's not really compatible with these old systems anyway. So when you use these emulators to run old operating systems, you lose some of the good things that they had, and one of the things that was better in the olden days, at least with these old games, was the sound. It's not terrible, but there is a noticeable difference with several old games.